This is my second playthrough for Grand Prix Circuit. In this one I'm going to do a single race around Monza. So I already have it more or less set up for 3 laps there. Maximum difficulty. And Monza's right there, and here we go. I'm going to race the Ferrari again. So first you have to qualify, just like in real life, and just like also in pole position. So I'm going to go for the pole position. When I was training for this, I had gotten so bad at driving that I wasn't able to do this. This always used to be a given. I could always get the pole position, but this time I had to train up to it. So off I go. "200 miles an hour already." This curve is always difficult, but I more or less nail it there. To get through this chicane. I'm suspicious this chicane is oversimplified. And 200 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I have to brake just as I hit 9. Managed to get the downshift right. Downshifting is actually quite difficult in all the Accolade racing games, but in this one it's especially hard because you actually have to brake and downshift a lot. And the only way to downshift is to brake and press the joystick button at the same time. So often you get into the trap of going too slow. Anyway, I made it. Pole position. Here we go. I had a really rough first lap, I think partly because I was stressed and partly because, again, I'm way out of practice. Wobbling around the track a little bit too much here. Trouble in that turn. And then this one I took it too fast and I went off. Then I had the downshift, that whole problem I was mentioning before. I settled for second gear. You can see the pack and the map are really close to me, actually. "203, 204, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to brake. Only just barely get around the curve. And into second gear. Then I start to pick it up finally. Minute 20 on the first lap. So one of my worst times since going back to Grand Prix Circuit after 20 some odd years. Swerving around the curves here. Only just barely making that curve. The turn again. And I am finally pulling away from the pack at this point. On this race, though, I was never able to get past 208 miles an hour. Even on this track, it's rather difficult to go fast, actually. Braking it from 208 again. Almost go off the track. I have to settle for third gear, and then I just managed to ease it down to second before going back up again. .106, not too bad a time, in spite of all the sloppy driving. Again, I'm saying it's a decent time mostly because my standards are so much lower than they used to be. Now I'm finally starting to hit my stride a little bit. Gauging the speed of these curves a little bit better. I'm shifting better. Figuring out my race lines finally. And I'm finally way out in the lead. Again, didn't break 208. So that's going to be the fastest speed for the race. But I made a smooth transition into this curve, and now I'm heading for the finish line. And I get in under 105 for that lap, which is my fastest lap since starting my Grand Prix Circuit racing this year. I have the progress bar again. Obviously, if I got properly back into practice with this, I would be doing much better times, I know, because of what I was able to do years ago. So there are the results. The highest speed, the average speed, total time, fastest lap with the average speed and the time. And I've won by a very wide margin. And it gives me my points, because that's the same as the tournament mode. And all these drivers, I think, are fictional. But Nigel Evans is usually the one who's second, and Sakamoto is usually the one who's last. They're basically characters in the game of sorts. In the manual, they portray these guys a little bit differently from their actual capabilities, actually. Like they portray Sakamoto as one of your most serious opponents, when in fact that's not the case. Those are the high scores. I didn't make it on this try because, well, I'm just not in practice at the moment. And then they show you celebrating your victory. And then after this, you go back to the main menu. That's basically it. So that's the game. There aren't any add-ons or anything. It's actually what you see is what you get. It's not like Test Drive 2 where you can add cars and tracks. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.